watching videos of us. I have been trying to get rid of your stuff, but voices in my head are telling me to stop. It's all I have left, all I have of you. Thought I was more than a body to hold, baby. I wanted you, wanted us to be something more. I was so sure, let my guard down for you. Baby, why'd you have to love me like that? I gave you my heart and you tore it apart. Don't know why you had to hurt me like that. Cause now I'm messed up, drinking non-stop, just trying to forget you and everything we said. But I can't seem to get these thoughts out of my head. Baby, why'd you have to love me like that? Love me like that. Oh, staying inside in my bed all alone.
Testing. Oh yeah, we got microphone bars, baby. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the live stream. Today, we are doing cybersecurity for beginners and specifically focusing on pen testers, cybersecurity analysts, and of course, GRC, which is the super fun one that everyone loves to do so much. Get your questions in the chat. I'm going to be answering them live. The moderators who are all sitting in the chat waiting for your questions will then feed them onto the screen, which you should be able to see above me here. So if you're looking to have your question answered, please pop it into the chat, and we'll get them answered as soon as possible. So let's get started with some basic information about essentially what to get started with and what the outlook of cybersecurity is around the world at the moment. Now, these figures and certifications are ones that I've gathered as well as experience from multiple different countries. So this isn't Australia specific or US specific or UK, Canada, etc. This is literally a collection of pretty much everywhere. And I wanted to do it like that because I thought it was going to be nice in general, and it'll be easier to essentially, get the ball rolling and get things moving a little bit. So the first one I want to talk about is the junior pen tester. Now, with junior pen testers, what I've seen and what I did some research on this week was that the EJPT followed by the OSCP are the two most commonly asked for certifications. Now, I'm not saying that you should focus on certifications. I'm saying that knowledge is what you should ultimately be chasing here, but this is what people are asking for on job boards. If that's right or wrong, that's entirely up to you. Most of them do ask for some sort of tertiary qualification, like a university degree or a master's, or even like a trade school TAFE. But the key pointer for a junior pen tester, and this might be shocking, it might not be shocking to you, is that they are asking for an average of 1 to 3 years experience for a junior pen tester role. Now, they're not asking for 1 to 3 years junior pen tester or pen tester experience. They're asking for 1 to 3 years of IT experience generally across the board. So if that helps to answer that question, that's sort of what I've seen, and that I did clarify all of this with two different recruiters, one in the US and one in Australia. The average money, and this is in Australian dollars, you guys can convert it with the trusty old Google, is $90,000 per year for a junior pen tester. Now, that is the average. I thought it was honestly a little bit high from what I've seen, but I mean, that's the numbers. That's what it came up with. So I'm just relaying the message of the research to you guys. So I hope that that helps you out and sort of gives you an understanding of what's required to get in as a junior pen tester. Now, on the topic of pen testing, I have to do it. I have to mention the Safer Internet Project. If you guys are interested in becoming a penetration tester or completing compliance reports, head on over to saferinternetproject.com and check out the project that's going on over there. The quick rundown is that we are providing a learning experience for you to learn exactly how to do pen testing from zero all the way up to experienced. Now, how we do that is by providing you with learning modules to complete, as well as shadowing professionals, which is myself and Gareth, to complete pen tests. And then eventually, once you have passed a verification process, you then are able to perform pen tests in groups with other members. Now, those are overlooked, of course, and the results are sort of massaged, and it's all about learning here. But it is a great program to get behind and be a part of. So if you're looking to become a pen tester, check out saferinternetproject.com. It's an awesome program. The guys and girls who are in there at the moment are enjoying it so much. I'm sure you might see something in the chat about this from people who are in there now. By all means, check it out. I think it's absolutely worthwhile. On to the next job, which is the Junior Security Engineer / Analyst. Now, the two most required certifications, and one of these might shock you. The first one is the CYSA Plus by CompTIA. Now, that one I thought was a no-brainer. Previously, I would have said it would be the Security Plus, but it looks like times have changed. Things have caught up. They're now looking for the CYSA Plus. Now, that's a great certification to get if you want to become an analyst. The other certification was the CCNA. Now, you might realize I mentioned that in a video just the other day, and that's literally where I got that information from, was from doing this research, and that's when I thought I'd make a video about that. So the CCNA, the CYSA Plus are the two most asked for certifications for junior security engineers / analysts. The minimum required experience in IT, not specifically in cybersecurity, is 1 year. So 0 to 1 year's experience, which I thought was pretty cool. It looks like it's definitely easier than getting into pen testing, especially because of that experience gap that they're asking for there. The average in Australian dollars is $80,000 a year for a junior security engineer / analyst, which I thought was roughly correct. That seemed about right to me. The last one on this list, while I'm waiting for some of these questions to come in, is the junior GRC officer / analyst. Now, depending on the organization that you're going to be working in, this role is usually within part of what a security engineer or SOC analyst would do, sometimes even in incident response. But this was, it seems to have grown into its own thing that has become more popular now, where there are dedicated GRC officers and more of those positions becoming available. The two most popular certifications I could find for these two roles were the Splunk Fundamentals 1 and 2 and the CompTIA Security Plus. Those were across multiple different countries, multiple different company sizes. That was just the two most popular. Now, I thought the Splunk Fundamentals was an interesting one to have in a compliance job, but I guess it does kind of make sense, and it's interesting that it's in there. So one of them is actually free as far as certifications go, so that's awesome. Like I said at the start, though, what you should be chasing is knowledge, not so much certifications, and I'm sure I'll get some questions about that later on. The experience required for a junior GRC officer / analyst is 0 to 1 year. So that's it's pretty much on par with the security engineer analyst. And the top end is sort of asking for 1 year, plus the normal end of a junior GRC officer is asking for no experience at all within IT, which I thought was quite surprising. The average salary of someone working in a junior GRC officer position in Australian dollars is $65,000 a year. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I think that's some good information Splunk Fundamentals is absolutely an expensive certification to get, and it's I mean, it's not cheap, but usually if you get the number one, then you sort of get your foot into a door, and you can potentially use that to you know, leverage the company that you're working for, organization, to pay for the number two for you as part of their upskilling within the industry program, which most places do have these days, including smaller like MSPs and stuff like that. So absolutely check out all of those jobs. If you're looking to get into cybersecurity, those are the three most popular that I could see at the moment. And yeah, I think it's a great place to start. Now, I'm going to have a look at some of these questions that are coming in. This is the new system, so if there's any hiccups here, that's going to be why. I'd like to have a mad shout out to the channel members. It's great to see channel members in here. I did just throw it into the chat that all of the tips that come in, I will be splitting it equally between the mods of my Discord server, as well as this live stream and future live streams. So if you want to, you know, basically give them back something for doing such an awesome job of helping me out with these live streams, drop a tip in, and I'll be sharing that equally between them. So it might not be a lot. It might be, you know, maybe $10 each, something like that. Who knows? It depends on how much you guys drop in, if anything. Don't feel obliged, but that's where the money's going to, just in case you were wondering. Now, the first question is from Brad, and he has asked, what are the best resources to learn Splunk? Good question. The best resources to learn Splunk is actually the Splunk Fundamentals number one certification that you can do. So it comes with a lot of really great information to get started with. The second best place to learn stuff for Splunk is there is actually like a trial lab download that you can get from the Splunk website. So if you were to create an account on there and just say that you're interested in the product, it'll give you like a virtual machine that you can download, as well as there's also a web version of it where you can log into the Splunk website, and it gives you like an outlined lab version of the product to play around with, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's basically enterprise technology that you get to mess around with without having to sort of purchase it or do anything, which is, I mean, that to me, that sounds awesome. So if that's something you're interested in, that's absolutely what I would be looking at doing. Just before I answer the next question, there is, I am only doing this for 1 hour. So we're only 8 minutes in, but if you want to get your question answered, I'm only here for 1 hour, and then I'll do this again on Sunday next week. So if you don't get your question answered in this session, I'll get to it on the next week. Next question is from Josh Kern. It says, hey Legend, can you touch on some of the things to consider when looking to go down either red/blue team career paths in Australia? Yes, I can. And cheers for reaching out earlier. I saw your email. I was talking to you today, and it's great to see you in this live stream as well. So I'm happy that you've come along. Some of the things to consider when looking either blue or red is the work-life balance of each, because it is slightly different, as well as the working hours. Now, sometimes with SOC analysts, which is a blue team type position, the working hours can often be shift hours. And I'm sure Bjorn, one of the mods in the chat here, would be happy to shed some light on that for you. But basically, he does a 12 hours on and 12 hours off, and then 12 hours on. I think he does that 4 or 5 days a week, which is pretty heavy and pretty extreme. So if that's sort of something that might stand out to you as something you don't want to do, then that is definitely worth looking into. Pen testers often don't sort of go that sort of far down the night knock type work. So yeah, it's that's definitely something to look into. To be honest, with the question's gone. With red team as well. Just touching on that. if you do want to sort of look into red teaming and exactly how it's done, there are plenty of different bug bounty programs out there as well, which do teach red teaming, as well as if you want to get like a general grasp of blue team and red team work, what I would be looking at is some of the stuff on TryHackMe for the red team labs as well as the blue team labs. Now, the reason I would be looking at those two is because there are free components of each of those pathways. So if that sort of interests you to basically have a look at, then yeah, that's sort of what I would be looking into. I'll just put some chat up here. Okay, so the next question is from Anonymous. It says, since the pen tester industry seems to be mostly cert/TAFE based, is it... One sec, Eraser. Give me a sec. Okay. Mostly cert/TAFE based. Is it worth it/necessary to bother with school/uni if you're not going to use any of it anyway? Absolutely yes. So if you are looking to get into cybersecurity and you're thinking, should I go to uni or TAFE or a trade school, something like that, formal education, while it may sound like a massive drag and something that's not worth it, it absolutely is. And it's not just the piece of paper that you pick up, it's the people you meet. It's the vast range of knowledge that you're going to gather from those the different units that you learn. And of course it is the piece of paper that you get at the end saying that you have completed those modules. Now, the other benefit of university and sometimes TAFE is that you do get some sort of pathways into maybe like internship type programs, or something where you are able to get a foot in the door in the industry. But to be honest, the main point is that learning from other people around you, or learning with those people around you, is really good for building up your own confidence and building up your own set of skills, as well as having them as contacts for later on that, you know, maybe they'll come in handy. Who knows? It's a hard thing to sort of say, but I would say that yes, they are definitely worthwhile doing. Brad says, out of all the pens you've tested, which is your favorite? Out of all the pens I've tested, the Pentel N50 pen is absolutely my favorite pen. Out of all of the systems I've pen tested, I would say my favorite system is probably cloud-based or cloud-managed network equipment. I really like that stuff. It's really interesting to play with because it's mostly API hacking, and I find that quite interesting because there's a lot you can do with open APIs, and not a lot of people bother to do a lot of remedy or mitigation tasks off the back of that. So yeah, that's definitely my favorite pen, other than the Pentel Pen N50, which is an amazing pen. And I wish I actually got to write more. I never use a pen. Next question is from Kat Mansour, and it is, I'm super noob, moved from network support assistant to cybersecurity. How should I proceed? Firstly, congratulations on taking the jump into cybersecurity. It's not an easy thing to do in most cases. And it's very interesting that you're sort of asking me what to do, because you're actually doing it, which is awesome. What I would do from here, moving onwards into other cybersecurity roles, is essentially gain the experience that you're currently getting at the moment. So you've just started in cybersecurity after doing networking. You've taken a very similar path to me. Just ride that train for a little bit longer, gather the experience that you've dropped yourself into now with a cybersecurity role, and just sort of push onwards from there. Now, something I think that's quite cool here to maybe think about as well is to potentially skill up in an area that interests you more. So if you're potentially looking at maybe you want to be a pen tester, or maybe you really like GRC, or maybe you do really like DevSecOps, or one particular type of pen testing. Maybe you want to go further within a SOC. Have a look at each of those options. Then the quickest way to find out if you need a certification, and if so, what certification you need, is to go onto a job board listing website, search for that position that you're interested in, and have a look at what the requirements are for A, experience, and B, certifications, if any. That would be my best advice on moving upwards and onwards from where you already have. But definitely congratulations on taking that jump. That's really good news to hear, and I love hearing about success from people in the industry. The next question that I have, and I'm going like a machine gun here. We're going to keep going through as many of these as we can, so don't forget to drop them in the chat. The next one is from Samuel Lee, and he says, just started learning TryHackMe Junior Pen Tester route. That's the new one, I believe. That's cool. How do I know if I'm ready for Box/CTF with no write-ups? Now, the thing with CTFs is that they are a learning experience. So if there's no write-ups, that's perfectly okay. Just dive in, have a go. The main thing here is that you're giving it your best shot, and chances are you're going to learn along the way. With the CTF on TryHackMe, specifically the Junior Pen Tester route, is that it's aimed to teach you to be a junior pen tester. And the CTFs there are designed exactly for that. And that is absolutely that's the learning path that you're really looking at, to be honest. So have a look at completing that, and maybe make your own write-ups. Once you've completed some of those rooms, maybe you'll be the person who makes the write-up and other people reference later on. But don't rely on write-ups to be your true point of knowledge. Have a go at it yourself. The next question is from Moe29, and we have, would you recommend a master's in cybersecurity after completing a bachelor in cybersecurity? Now that honestly depends on two different things that I can think of. The first one is where you're heading, like geographically, what job you want to get physically, as well as if you are aiming to be more academic than perhaps not academic. So it's a hard question to answer. I know a lot of people from places like India and Singapore and various Asian countries are pursuing a master's degree, and that's because the populations are quite high, or the country that they want to go to requires a master's degree for a certain type of residency status. So that's usually the main driving factor, especially for people coming to Australia, is with the master's degree. There is, I think, don't quote me on this, but I think there is some benefits for people who have a master's degree over those who don't. Maybe, but absolutely look it up on imi.gov.au or whatever the immigration website is to fact check that, because I might be wrong, but absolutely check it out. And that might be the main driving factor for you. If you're looking for a country to go to, that would be the one that I would be looking up. The next question is from Abhinendra, and it says, how to get practical knowledge in cybersecurity. I recently did the IBM 8-month cybersecurity course on Coursera, but it not take me more practical knowledge. I'd like to ask you the question, what area of cybersecurity are you looking to get into? If you're interested in pen testing, there is the one that I've mentioned a couple of times so far, which is the Safer Internet Project. It's literally a hands-on learning experience to learn how to pen test. So have a look at that. There's a link in the description. If you're learning maybe a little bit more on the compliance, audit, or blue team side, then a really great way to learn those is Cybersecurity Labs. Now I've been banging on about labs for like a year. about how everyone should, get into labs and have a go. And, it's so much fun to build your own lab. And it is. It's awesome. But it also shows that you have passion for the industry and you want to actually learn something and do something, kind of cool yourself, which is, that's really half of what it is in cybersecurity. You just want to be set out from the rest when you're breaking into the industry anyway. So have a look at building your own cybersecurity labs. I do have a playlist on exactly how to build your own attack and defense lab. So if that is something that interests you, have a look at getting into that. There's I think there's a link in the description. If there's not, jump on my channel. There's a thing on there to check it out. The next question is from Kavi Arison. It says, I have failed in as an and A levels math and sci, but I have IT and English, which is low, but I want to persuades cybersecurity is what I have to do now. I'm down right now. That's sad to hear, mate, but stay positive. It's not the end of the world. I hope I'm understanding your question properly. I'm really trying to grasp what you're saying in this question, but basically keep your head up, chin up. It's not the end of the world. Keep trying, and you'll come out the other end a better person. That's what these sort of learning experiences I find in life are all about. Sometimes you do well, sometimes you don't, and it's still a learning experience either way. So absolutely, just chin up, mate. Next question is from Droll Devil, and it is, I have a question for you. I want to know, what do you think is the bare minimum that should be asked from a pen tester as an entry-level role, regardless of project scope and contracts? So are you talking about the job itself? Because I can answer that. The bare minimum of a pen tester depends entirely on the system that you're pen testing. If, for example, it was web app pen testing, then they're going to, as a minimum, ask you to perform recon on that target. If that's not something you're comfortable with doing, then it's perhaps something that you should jump into looking into and actually completing and getting an understanding of what it is. There is plenty of videos out there as well on YouTube, especially on like the day life of a pen tester or something along those lines. So if you're looking to understand what happens each day during a pen test, then that's essentially what it is. But there's different aspects to cybersecurity as well as pen testing that you can always focus on and basically get behind learning how to do. I'm just going to have some water because I've been machine gunning these questions. So give me 2 seconds. Quick shout out also to the 76 people who are currently watching this. If you haven't already, please smash that like button. It definitely helps out my channel. And if you do feel like it, drop a little tip for the mods who are doing an excellent job writing these questions up here for me and managing the chat. This has been a really great stream, and it's good to see so many new people in here. So yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And let's get on to the next question. Next one is from Sahil Basia, and it is, what if a junior pen tester could not pen test and find any vulnerability for a company? Will he be removed from the company if he's working for? If he failed to complete a pen test, so there's different aspects to a pen test. I'll break it down. There's basically a recon section, then there's a vulnerability matching section, and then there's the report writing section at the end. Now, sometimes you also have to present that report to the client, but if you haven't found any vulnerabilities, that doesn't mean you failed as a pen tester. It just means that their system is secure. Now that happens all the time. That's a very common occurrence. So don't feel bad that if you can't find any vulnerabilities. It doesn't mean that there aren't any. It just means that their system is secure enough to have dissuaded you from finding anything vulnerable. Now, maybe the next time that they do a pen test, and usually they sign up on either like a biannually or annually pen test, or sometimes even quarterly. And I mean, it depends how often they need to produce those reports to stay secure for their various compliance that they need to stay compliant with. So yeah, if you don't find any vulnerabilities the first round, hopefully you've skilled up enough by the second time to have found something, if there is something vulnerable. Sometimes there isn't. Sometimes I have a really good firewall system running over the top and you don't find a single thing, and that's just it. That's just how the pen test works, how the cookie crumbles. So yeah, don't get caught up on it, man. The next question is from Ridwan Ra, and he says, do you think CCNA is worth getting in 2021 or Cisco CyberOps? I think the CCNA is still absolutely worth getting, especially for people who have just come out of uni, because if you don't get into a cybersecurity role after doing like a degree in cybersecurity, and you've still got that CCNA under your belt, you can still apply for a job as a network admin or a network engineer, which is an equally awesome job. Sure, it doesn't say cybersecurity at the start of it, but you still get access to some of those cybersecurity components. You just don't get that bougie title of a cybersecurity network engineer. And to be honest, the jobs are super similar. And I've actually done a video before on cybersecurity engineer versus network security engineer and what's the difference. And there are crossovers in those two roles. And if you can get into a job as a network engineer, that's still a very good paying job. And it's still something that's going to give you experience to move into something else in cybersecurity in the future. So absolutely, CCNA is definitely worth it. The next question is from Asif Khan, and he says, any advice about cloud security entry-level job roles? Yes. My advice for you here, and this is a little bit broad because there's sort of like, I guess, two major players in cloud security, being Azure or Microsoft and AWS. Now, each of those have their own set of certifications, which is wonderful, but there are different learning pathways to each of those two, I guess, vendors of cloud security. The difference is that, I mean, they're similar enough that if you learn how to do one, you would be able to pick up the other one enough. And the easiest way I've found to learn these, and I have done a fair bit of cloud sort of pen testing before, is to essentially run up your own AWS or Azure instances and get a general feel for how it works, how it's set up, what you can build, how you set up the firewall rules over the entire tenancy. And yeah, that's hands-on training that doesn't cost you anything. It might cost you like 30 cents if you leave it running. But just don't leave it running for an awfully long time, and it should be fine. Good to see Ange in the chat here as well. Cheers for watching, Ange. Next question is from Lynette, and it says, which certifications do you recommend for ethical hacking or pen testers, not CEH? Yeah. The number one certification for ethical hackers or pen testers, despite the internet drama, especially on Twitter between certain personalities, is the OSCP. It's still the number one asked for certification for pen testers, but it's there are other options available as well. So yeah, I think the OSCP is I still think the best option. But I've said it a few times before, try not to chase certifications, rather chase knowledge. And that's sort of where the whole Safer Internet project idea came from, where certifications are great and absolutely are awesome. But if you're looking to gain knowledge, then the Safer Internet project has literally been built just for that. So yeah, definitely worth checking out. Cheers to Sugar Skull Life for the $1.99 US tip. That's going straight into the tip jar, straight to the mods. Cheers and thank you for that. I'm sure they can each buy a lollipop each, which is awesome. The next question is from Moe29, and he, they, she, them says, thoughts on working as cybersecurity consultant. A cybersecurity consultant job is pretty awesome. It's a good place to start in cybersecurity, especially if you can get in. Or not to start, sorry. It's a good place to pivot from once you've been working in cybersecurity for a little while. So most of the time, cybersecurity consultants are someone who is contracting to another company or government agency, and for them to move to contracting as a consultant, that is like one-on-one talking with clients and or in a business as a consultant. I mean, there's different roles that a consultant can fit under, but it's a pretty sick job, I think. So yeah, definitely one worth checking out. And if you have an opportunity to get into it, absolutely, I'd take it up. Sugar Skull Life says options on VMware Carbon Black. Opinions. Sorry. My opinions on Carbon Black is that it's awesome. Saying that though, I did see a Hafnium exploit this week on a managed system that runs Carbon Black, and it didn't pick up a single thing. So if that's anything to go by with Carbon Black, I mean, that's a bad example because it is a very good product and Hafnium is a special case. But yeah, I think Carbon Black is actually pretty cool, to be completely honest. It's a great product to manage, and it's easy to manage, and it looks pretty cool. The logging that you get out of it is quite good, I think. So yeah, definitely worth checking out. I think it's good. Get some more water. Give me 2 seconds. Before I start up again, we are about halfway through this stream. I'm only streaming for an hour because it is quite late on Sunday night. And yeah, this will be going for another half an hour, but don't stress. If I don't answer your question today, you can come back next Sunday and I'll be doing this all over again where we can have lots of fun. That's what this is all about. We're trying to keep in the good vibes and have a good time and learn some stuff, which is, I mean, that's the best way to learn, right? When you're having fun. All right, next question is from Soams Ferrers, and they say ISO 27001 lead implementer cert. Do I have to pay for a course and do exam, or can do 100% self-study and sit exam like it is for CCNA, etc.? That's an interesting question. The only times I've seen people who are certified ISO lead implementers who have done that cert are people who have had that certification paid for by the organization or agency within a government. Who they have paid for it. Now, I mean, that's really strange that you would be asked to pay for the cert yourself, I think, because that one is very specific to, I mean, larger SOC team type. Well, I mean, ISO 27001 is across everywhere, but you can do self-study for it. If you go to the website for ISO 27001, there is some free documentation that you can download to learn different techniques from. So yeah, absolutely have a look at that before sort of jumping into paying for the certification yourself. That's my advice on that one. The next question is from Julian Murr, and they have said, recent cybersecurity graduate, congratulations on graduating. If you're stuck between blue team and red team, which is better to begin, and or is graduate rotational position better? it depends. I mean, which one do you prefer? As I know you said you're stuck, but which one to get into first? Oh, it depends on so many things. I'll use Australia as an example. Pen testing in Australia at the moment there's a higher demand for pen testers than there is for security analysts, for example. Now, that's just a result of everyone rushing to, as graduates, to get out of university and go straight into doing, blue team work. And that's because the government was pumping a lot of money into the industry and getting more people blue team ready, which was super cool. Saying that though, I think that, now pen testing is the bigger one because there's less people who are ready for pen testing, but pen testing is also harder to get into. So I think you need to have a look at how soon you want to get a job, what sort of roles you're interested in doing each day. Like I said earlier to someone else's question as well, if you are looking to sort of move into cybersecurity and you're not sure on blue or red team, something to look at is the working hours and the work-life balance and how that works. Like I was saying before, the blue team guys often work on a night shift rotation, which can be very tricky for a lot of people. That's very, very standard for a blue team to have like a 24-hour SOC. So maybe just keep that one in mind and have a real think about what you want to do. Next question is from Brad, and he has asked, what are some of the common mistakes that you see beginners make when trying to learn or get into cybersecurity? The most common mistake I see people make is to... it's a hard one. Most common mistake, probably that they think it's a lot more Hollywood than what it is. So when they get into a job, they end up seeing that it's nothing like Mr. Robot, and it's can be quite structured and process driven. And the other mistake is that a lot of people think that cybersecurity itself is often an entry level job, which I'm not saying that you can't get in to a cybersecurity job straight out of uni or trade school or whatever it is. It's just very hard because most of the people getting into cybersecurity now are coming from positions of like network engineers or sysadmins. And it's because that's why they asked for so much experience on the junior cybersecurity roles, is because they want you to be across all of those systems before getting into protecting or attacking them. And this sort of feeds into that question that came up before as if I become a pen tester and I can't find a vulnerability, have I failed and will I get kicked out of the company? The question there is that you should know, those systems, and they'll probably know that in the interview if you know those systems well enough to be able to either protect or break into them. So that's sort of where that comes from, and why it should be something that you think about before sort of jumping into cybersecurity. And I don't mean to burst anyone's bubble and say that you can't get into cybersecurity without lots of experience, etc., etc. I'm just saying that it is difficult to get into cybersecurity without having prior IT experience. Whatever the IT it is, that experience is quite important. Next question is from Soames Fez, and they have said, how important is project management skills or qualifications such as PMP in the cybersec industry? I'm not sure what the PMP qualification is. I'd love to hear a little bit more about that. That would definitely help me understand that question. Maybe drop it in my Discord server. For anyone who is not in the Discord server, by the way, I'll chuck it in the chat. Discord.gg/DC Cybersec. All right. jump on in there if you have a question, asking questions that I haven't answered now, and I'll try and get to that later. But it's a tricky question to answer without prior knowledge. So maybe just ask me in there and I'll help you out with that one. Next question is from Krieger119, who's also dropped $5 in here. So cheers for that. I'll give it to the mods. They can buy a beer. That's fantastic. Thank you very much. His question is, thoughts on a 40-year-old starting fresh in cybersecurity at Western Governors University, WGU, in the US. Sounds great for an online school. Yes, I know 3 people, 2 who I believe are still going in it. One of the mods in the chat has actually is actually going through that course at the moment, or that university rather at the moment. From what I've heard about it is that you do really need to stay motivated, because self-motivated, because the programs themselves are can be a little bit dry. Maybe dry is not the right word, but maybe a bit bland. So yeah, staying motivated to actually complete the work and get it in on time and continue through with it is quite important. But I believe the coursework itself is actually pretty good. So yeah, absolutely check that out. I think it's a great option though. I mean, as far as online universities go, it seems like one of the better ones out there. So yeah. Next question is from Gaming Here. And his question, or her question, is what are the factors that affect amount of money one could get in Bug Bounty? The factors are if it's a duplicate or not. Now this actually feeds onto a thing that I have said many times, which is that I absolutely don't like bug bounties, because I find them to be, if you're chasing money, which I think a lot of people are when they go into bug bounties, I feel like there's better options out there to gain knowledge from. Saying that, or to gain money from, I mean, there's better ways to make money. If you want to go into bug bounties though to learn something new and, you know, jump in and learn some cool stuff, then I mean, absolutely, it's a wealth of information that you can learn by going through and completing their different bug bounty, like what is CSRF or what is IDOR, those sort of things. Those are super useful, and they will help you with pen tests on web apps later on down the line, which, I mean, there is a lot of web app pen testing out there. Cheers, by the way, for Bjorn, for the $20. I mean, you are one of the mods, so some of that money's going to go back to you anyway, but what else? So yeah, I mean, if you want to get into bug bounties to learn money, I think that's a bad idea. If you want to get into bug bounties to learn something, then absolutely, it's super useful for that. Next question is from Sahad Khan. The question is, what you say about cybersecurity master's degree and certification? If I have cybersecurity master degree, do I need to do certifications? Not always. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I mean, it honestly depends on the jobs that you're applying for and where those jobs are. It also depends on what experience you have in the industry, because that is the ultimate key factor to getting into the industry. So having a master's degree is great and all, but after, like, I've chat with a few recruiters before, and there's a few videos on my channel about degrees versus certifications, and a lot of the time those certifications are great to have, and the master's degree is also great to have, but ultimately what it comes down to is actually experience in IT. That's honestly the kicker here that really hurts people when they're trying to get in. So I mean, maybe have a look at how you can gain experience. That might be a more useful avenue for you, instead of just focusing on if your degree is going to be better than a certification. I think you may be just sort of thinking about it in a way that's not going to help out too much. The next question is from Christian Taylor. Welcome back, dude. Happy to see you here. It's been a while. Oh no, that question is gone. Just disappeared. He says, "Hey DC, doing some cool stuff at Zero right now. How do you think an intermediate GRC specialist goes from an intermediate to a senior role or to management? Hope you're well." That's tricky. I mean, basically, you get to a senior role by either undertaking some sort of knowledge based on like a mid-level management. That definitely will help out. But if you're looking to get into, it's going to rely again on experience. And I feel like I'm just repeating myself here with everyone needs experience. Experience is key. But it absolutely is. It's super important to be able to gain experience. And I mean, you've been at Zero. I've been talking with you for a couple of years now. And I know you started your internship there and that was good. And you got a job there, which was great. And now you're sort of looking to move upwards within the company, which is awesome. I think experience for you is probably one thing that you already have. So maybe have a look at getting into some short courses on like managing teams. That might actually help out help you push into that more mid-level management type position. Ash Jawa says, CTFs from scratch, where to start and learn. I'm going to grab a link for you because this is my favorite simple CTF to get started with, and I'm going to drop it in the chat. This one is Over the Wire War Games, specifically the Bandit series. The way that CTF is laid out is super useful for learning Linux web shell hacking, and not Linux web shell, Linux shell, and hacking through the shell. So if you want to have a look at that, that's definitely worthwhile. It's in the chat. Other than that, there's plenty of free rooms on Try Hack Me. There's plenty of free stuff on hackthebox.com or EU. Definitely worth checking out as well. So I mean, if you want to compete in CTFs, and that's a different story because you have to have a different sort of, like, you need to be sort of specializing in one particular type of you need to be specializing in one type of vulnerability, I guess, or system or CTF style. So some people really like MISC, some people like reversing, some people like crypto, some people like Pwn. I mean, the world's your oyster, and you get to pick any one of those that you like. So that's sort of where I would be looking if you want to compete in CTFs, by doing some of the basic CTFs first. That's my advice for you. Just a heads up, there's about 12 minutes left on this stream. So if you have any questions, drop them in now, and I'll see if I can answer them all before the end of this this stream. The next question is from Hemant Raj, and he has asked, how much competitive coding like data structure and algorithm gives an advantage in cybersecurity career? In things like pen testing or DevSecOps, it's super useful to have those sort of skills. Also in like AppSec, and that's a massive growing industry, especially like mobile app pen testing. That's huge at the moment, especially in Australia. And I know recruiters, I've been asked a few times in the last couple of weeks if I know anyone who is in mobile app pen testing, and there's really not that many people out there. So I mean, that might be an option for you to sort of have a look at and check out. But yeah, that's sort of the one I would be looking for if it was me. The next question, I'm just going to load it up, is from Flo Ramiel, and the question is, hi, I'm currently a skydiver. That's kind of cool. And wanting to become a cybersecurity analyst. Awesome. Got my CompTIA A+, cool. Currently working on Net+, awesome. And aiming to get Sec+ and CYSA+, fantastic. In your opinion, would this be enough to get a job? You're actually, that's a lot of certification, to be completely honest, but you are covering each area, and I like that. I think that's kind of cool, and I like your initiative of having a look at the CompTIA set, because they are sort of designed to be taken like this. So you've really done your homework well to look into jumping into cybersecurity from another industry. And I always love seeing people who have come from another industry into cybersecurity from something that is just not cyber related at all, and it's just so cool to see. I really love that stuff. Cheers, Rio, for the $10 tip. I'm going to answer your question here now. Do you think there's a place for methodologies like infrastructure as code and tools like Terraform on the red team side of the fence? For example, for labs or for pen test tooling / environment provisioning. Let me read this one more time. Do you think there's a place for methodologies like infrastructure as code and tools like Terraform on the red team side of the fence? For example, labs or pen... Yes, there. I think there is. I'm trying to think of an example of this for you. The thing with these methodologies and like infrastructure as code, or like literally Terraform, is they're still. I feel like they're still sort of new / breaking in. It's not something that's used a lot at the moment. But for if you did want to provision like a full tool set, that would be, I mean, that could work like that. So I hope that answers your question. I might have a chat with you later about this one, because there's a couple of other things I want to include in this answer that I think will help, and I don't want to sort of hold you up here too much. So I'll make sure I get back to you a little bit later about that question. But that's an interesting one. I really like that. The next question is from Chris M, and they have said, my community college is giving a cybersecurity course. Is it worth it, or should I do computer infotech? Without knowing anything about that course, or any of the electives, or anything about this course, I mean, there's quite a lot of information in there that you need to sort of look through and see what you're getting out of it. I don't know how much it costs. I don't know if there's any certifications thrown in there apart from the cybersecurity course itself. I'd need to know a lot more information about that to give you an accurate answer. Sorry, mate. Just for anyone who's in here at the moment and hasn't already smashed that like button, smash the absolute hell out of that like button, so that we can keep doing these videos more and more. I'd like to do these every Sunday at the moment. And yeah, maybe more of them further down the line, but we'll see how it all goes. Next question, and I've got time for about 5 more, I think, after this, is from Tech and Games. And his question, or her question, is, which is the highest and hardest paying cybersecurity certification in 2021 and future? Highest and hardest paying cybersecurity. So what's the most expensive and the hardest cybersecurity certification? I mean, that honestly, that depends a lot on you, as you're the one who's going to be undertaking that certification, and what sort of knowledge you have towards that particular topic. So I mean, that's really hard for me to answer. I would say the that CISO certification. There's a let me find it. Give me one sec. I know. No, not the EC Council one. There's a NIST one that's super hard. It's an interesting question. It's not something I've been asked before, to be honest. So it's, I don't have an answer up front for you. But let me find this. I can't find it, but there is a there's a NIST certification that is apparently super hard to do, and Yeah, I mean that is probably one of the harder ones. Cheers, Flo Ramiel, for the 10 New Zealand. That's epic. Thank you for that, and I'm going to hand that to the epic mods. If everyone can give a round of applause to the amazing mods who have been looking after this live stream and massaging through and making it as awesome as it has been. This has been an epic live stream so far. I've been loving it, and this is great to see so much activity and some stuff here. As I mentioned before, I'll chuck it in the chat again. All of the tips that come in here, I'm giving it all straight to the mods. They work hard to keep my community and the chat in here going. So yeah, thanks guys, and I hope there's 48 Australian dollars in here so far. So you've all made some money, which is fantastic. So thank you to everyone who's donated to the mods. Question from Mission Condor: Is Cybrary career paths good for jobs, sysadmin, SOC analyst paths? I actually used to volunteer at Cybrary, and I did quite like their program at the time. I haven't gone back to have another look at how it works at the moment, but as far as systems go, it's a pretty good system, and it's well set out as far as like learning pathways go. Saying that, I think it is expensive in that there are potentially better ways to gather that information on, and far more targeted than like a spray and pray, which I'm not saying that's how they do it. I'm just saying that I think there is better sort of ways to go about that. An example of that, and this is the last time, I swear to God, the last time I'll mention it in this live stream. For example, there is a learn to penetration test system that myself and Gareth Klassen have built called the Safer Internet Project. Essentially, we take you from knowing nothing about pen testing all the way through to performing pen tests in a group learning situation. So the way we do this is we give you learning modules to learn from. We also ask you to shadow myself and Gareth while we perform real world pen tests against business systems. And after you've completed verification that you are able to perform a penetration test, we sit down in a group as a group project, and we work on doing a pen test on an environment. And it's essentially like a handheld, this is how to pen test. We walk you down the golden brick road and help you to learn, and that's basically what the whole project is about. And it's a really cool project. The people in there at the moment have so far said, I just had a meeting with them yesterday. We all had a meeting and had a chat about how everything was going, and they said it was awesome. They were loving it, and I'm not making this stuff up. You guys can ask the people who are in there if you don't believe me. So absolutely have a look at saferinternetproject.com. I think it's absolutely worthwhile, and I hope you do too. Question from Ayush Gusain. I'm sorry if I've said your name wrong. I'm terribly sorry. Can we go into cybersecurity with just graduate degree in information technology? Yes, you can. It's just going to be incredibly difficult. There are different requirements for each job. I would highly suggest having a look at a job listing website to see what is sort of required by most people who are just jumping into cybersecurity. So it depending on what role you're looking at doing, that would be the way to do it. All right. I think I've got time for one more question. It looks like it's going to be from Awaken. The question is, hi DC, I'm an ISO in an organization. I'm the only one guy in the whole organization that's in cybersecurity. That's tough. That's real tough. I don't have really that much experience. I have security plus. What should I go with next? I think CEH. Oh, please don't do the CEH, man. No. Ugh. I don't like shitting on certifications, but I really don't like the CDH. Oh, what are you actually doing as far as cybersecurity goes in that organization? Are you protecting their environment, or are you pen testing? I mean, if you're the only one guy, you're probably doing all of it. I would probably look into first how the firewalls work, and potentially building some sort of system that really focuses on understanding the logs behind what's happening on that firewall system. Now, depending on what firewall system it is, there's different there's different logging systems that you can use on different firewalls. If it's a Checkpoint one, the inbuilt logging system's great. Same as the Sophos firewalls there, inbuilt logging is pretty good. The Palo Altos, I mean, I don't like how it looks, but it is still pretty good as far as visibility goes. So, yeah, I mean, there's lots of different options to get started with there, and I think there's opportunity for you to learn more first on the blue team side to protect the environment, and then once you have a really good understanding of how to protect what you've got there, would be to then look at how you can focus on performing a pen test internally against that business. That's sort of where I would be going if it was me. As far as certifications go, I don't think certifications are the right route for you just yet. If you want to get into any certification, I mean, it's really hard to say, to be honest. The CISA Plus is probably not going to help a huge amount, but the OSCP would further down the line as far as performing pen tests on the internal environment. So, long story short, I probably wouldn't look at doing certifications. I'd look at trying to gain knowledge somehow, by doing it that way. That is the last question I'll be taking on this live stream. It has been a pleasure talking with you all. As I said before, if this is the first time you've come here, please do click the subscribe button and stick around for the next live stream. I'm going to be doing these every Sunday at the exact same time, just to keep some consistency. It's good to see the thanks everyone from the mods posted up the top there. Thank you to everyone who's dropped a tip for the mods. I appreciate that, and I appreciate having an avenue to give them some sort of monetary benefit off the back of helping me out with all this stuff. I don't like asking people for help, but if I can pass on some money, this is one way to do it, and that's I think a great way to go about that. But thank you everyone who's come along to this live stream, everyone who set up a thing to like a notification to come into this live stream. If you want to check out my Discord server, it is discord.gg/DC Cybersec. There's it looks like the mods are absolutely smashing it in the comments and the chat section. So yeah, go and have a look at that if that's popping off. I assume the Discord server is going pretty gangbusters right now. There's probably a few people jumping in there and lots of conversation happening, which is great. But yeah, thank you everyone for coming along. Smash that like button if you haven't already, and I'll see you all next Sunday for another Cybersecurity for Beginners live Q&A. I will be starting the chat off with some general information about cybersecurity and how to get yourself in, and then I'll spend the next 50 minutes roughly of answering your questions. So yeah, I'll see you guys all there. Thanks for coming along, and I'll see you there. Like I said.